Welcome back, everybody, for another review. Today we're going to be doing another Black Series review, and this time it's number 16, the Star Wars The Force Awakens First Order Flametrooper. Starting with the packaging of this figure, we get the Star Wars The Black Series logo at the top, and then at the bottom here we have the First Order Flametrooper written, ages 4 and up. We have the Flametrooper encased in its little plastic bubble, the Hasbro logo, and a pretty nice artist rendition of the Flametrooper. On the side here, we have number 16, the First Order Flametrooper, and it really comes in handy when looking through the shelves at the store to look at the numbers on the side. That way you don't always pick up a Finn or a Constable Zuvio, because those are the biggest shelf warmers in the Black Series line. On the back, we have the Star Wars The Black Series logo once again, number 16, and then we have the Disney logo, the Hasbro logo, choking hazard, and then a little read-up on the back. Pause the video if you guys want to read it. All right, let's pop the figure out of its tray, and we'll get this review started. Now, it's nice because you can actually put these figures back in the packaging once you're done taking them out, as long as you keep the tray intact. And so he comes with 2 accessories. Let me take out the Flametrooper first. They got him nicely packed in there. So there he is. And then let me just pull out this flamethrower tank and then the actual weapon. So here's the actual Flametrooper itself. I'm going to show you guys this before we put the accessories on and such. Now, the biggest flaw with any Stormtrooper figure that you buy, whether it's the 3 3/4 inch basic, the Black Series, whatever, you're going to find black or gray splotches here and there, and then there's going to be some cases where the black's not complete. Now, what am I talking about? Well, let's look at the belt for an example. On the back there, you guys can see that the white paint overlaps the black belt, and that's a pretty ugly mess up there. You can see a gray splotch over here. On the front here, on the crotch area, you can see a gray splotch. It's really nasty that you see that here and there. It just doesn't look good on a figure that's supposed to be just plain white and black. Overall detail and colorization, for the most part, it looks fine. The only minor thing I want to bring up is the gray highlights around the bottom of the helmet. They're off. It's supposed to be black, and they did it like a very metallic silver gray color. And it gets sloppy in the back. If you look at the sculpt in the back of the head there, there's an indentation, and then it kind of fades out, and it's more black in the actual back of the helmet, and it kind of fades to more of a gray. And to me, that just looks off. I don't like it. They should have just done it regular black like the rest of the body. The rest of it's pretty nice. It has that same glossy white and black colorization as the regular Stormtroopers have. And the sculpt is nice as well. It is accurate to how we see the Flametroopers in the film. They even added like a rubber belt, and this little pocket there is actually sculpted on the belt. It's not actually added on to the sculpt itself. And other than that paint blemish in the back, it's nicely painted. Overall, I like the sculpt, and it turned out pretty well. It's pretty nicely articulated. The head moves very fluently. You can see I can turn it in a 360. I can move it down to the sides. I can move it up to the sides. And it just has a really nice fluent means of articulation in the head. The arms are where it kind of gets stiff. And in some parts, it's really hard to move. It took me a while to be able to get the arms to go out like this. And I don't really want to do it because I can feel them kind of breaking, so I don't want to bend them too much. But that's as far as the arms go out. He also has elbow articulation. And so the arm articulation really helps when holding his weapon, and I'll show you why, because it's just really hard to get it in. You got to kind of hit that sweet spot with articulation to get his arms in the right position to actually hold his weapon fluently. And the elbows also rotate both sides. This arm in particular is very squeaky. I don't know why, but you can just hear that creaking all throughout its movements. And then you can also move the hand in a 360. The hands at first were kind of stiff, this one especially. But again, with the paint being sloppy, I mean, just look at his gloves. Really kind of nasty, honestly. And moving down, with his waist articulation, it doesn't actually bend at the waist, and it's really odd the way it moves. You could see, instead of moving his waist, it moves like right under the rib cage. And he twists in a complete 360. But again, it's kind of weird that it moves that way. I don't know, that's just me. And then the legs do kick up, but they only go to about right there, so you can put him in a seating position if you want. He does stand very well, I should mention that. But we're going to test that out with the actual backpack and the weapon on as well. He has knee articulation, and also the legs can move out to the side a little bit, so he's kind of like kicking something in the back of him if you want to do that. And they don't twist that much. They go inwards to about right there. And I think you can actually move it in a 360, but it kind of gets stiff just about there. This leg has the same thing. You can move it, but only to a certain extent. Not sure why you would move it that much in the first place, but the more articulation, the better, in my opinion. And like I said, the knees do bend, and they don't rotate at all. You can't really get them to move. It's more so the thighs that rotate. And then his feet do have a ball joint there, but they don't move that much. You can kind of kick them up or down, but that's as far as they're going to go. And they do have a bit of articulation. The rotation's very odd, kind of like he's like lifting his foot in the air to the side, like he broke it or something. I don't know why it moves in that way, but that's the only amount of articulation you really get. So the Flametrooper comes with two different accessories. The first one here is his actual flamethrower gun, and it is really nicely detailed. I mean, just look at that detail on the weapon, especially on the back there. Really fantastic. This is what a good Black Series weapon should look like, not Kylo Ren's lightsaber. I'm not a big fan of that one. And you can just see the detail throughout. The paint job is really nicely done on it. This weapon is a really great addition to the set. Now, this is the tank that goes onto his back, and it looks fine. You know, it's not bad at all. There are a few paint blemishes on the back there. You could see some gray, some gray, some gray. And like I said, it's all over the body, so why not just put it on the tank too? But the tank is pretty nicely detailed other than that, especially on this side, of course. And the thing about these two accessories is they connect. There's a little peg at the bottom of this weapon here, and you just plug it in. And you got to be careful so you don't actually mess up this little wire. And then you attach them together and then put them on the Flametrooper.
So here's what the figure looks like with all of its accessories added on. And you can see that you can get a lot of awesome poses with these accessories. And it just looks fantastic. This being displayed on your shelf is going to be definitely something that catches people's eyes when they look at your collection, because the posability, the stance, and even the weapons themselves look really nicely detailed. And to me, I just think it looks fantastic. Now, to get it in this pose, it can be a pain in the butt, because putting the hands around the weapon are hard. When you're trying to get this hand around the little handle at the bottom, you have to disconnect it from this little wire piece, then put it back on. And then to get this hand around here, to get it to kind of hold that straight position, you have to bend the elbow correctly, and then you kind of have to pry the hand open, because the plastic part at the top here is very easily bendable, which is the problem with a lot of these Flametroopers. Even with the 3 3/4 inch one here, you can see that this weapon is extremely bendable. It's that thin, and it can be a pain in the butt to pose it. So you got to be very careful when putting this on, because then, as you can see, like even mine's bending a bit. But that's why it becomes a pain to actually wrap its hand around there. But like I said, I mean, once it's on, the poses just look fantastic. Now, luckily, the tank does cover up that nasty-looking blemish on its back, especially around the belt area. And with all the accessories on, I think this figure just looks fantastic. This is how it's meant to look in the first place.
So it's final rating time. Now, I love the Flametrooper design. As soon as I saw that it was the new design for the Stormtroopers for the Force Awakens, I thought it looked fantastic. I love it almost as much as the Scout Trooper design. I love that from Return of the Jedi. I also love the Shadow Trooper. So these three are definitely in my top favorites, but this one just looks great. And to finally have a Black Series 6-inch figure of it, I am really happy with it. I wouldn't say this figure deserves a perfect 10 out of 10, though, because of that paint defect issue with all of the Stormtroopers. So none of them that I will be reviewing will probably get a perfect 10 out of 10. For the most part, this figure is awesome. The articulation is pretty nice. The accessories are great, a lot better than some of the other ones that we've seen so far. And I have to say, I feel like this figure deserves a solid 8 out of 10. That's my final rating. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with me. And also, have you guys found this figure yet? I know this one came out in Wave 4 with Jango Fett, FN2187, and Han Solo. So That wave is very hard to find. This one seems like the most common to find, but let me know in the comments down below if you guys have this one or have even that entire wave. So thank you guys for watching today's review. Also, before we go, I just want to say real fast, thank you guys very much for our very first 100 subscribers on the channel. And here's to 100 more. So again, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more toy reviews and unboxings on the channel.